Welcome to Mobile Armor Radio, the podcast for all things Mecha. Jumpship incoming.
Welcome to Mobile Armor Radio, episode 1, the podcast that we talk about all things mech, or Mecha, however you want to pronounce it or go with. I am Chopper, and I am joined with my two fellow colleagues. Please introduce yourself, guys. Oh, I have no friends. What happened? Sound off, soldiers.
All right. This is Brian Novak, also goes by Archimize.
And I'm Rob.
the late.
Actually, I was the one that was running late.
It'll all work out in the end.
Exactly. So I guess welcome to our endeavor of a mech podcast. So
yeah.
You guys excited?
Oh yeah.
Very much so. All right. Should we outline what we plan on doing with the podcast here? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's a good step.
Yeah, I think we do. We're going to do 3 segments roughly. We'll have 3 or 4, maybe even 5 segments. Roughly, we'll have the intro, which is what we're doing now. Then we move into what we're going to call the Dropship segment, which is things we're working on, whether it's models, paintings, movies, or not movies, sorry. Pretty much models and toys.
Unless we're making movies, that would be pretty sweet.
That's true. Unless we're making a fan film, that's not going to be me.
With some stop motion.
Stop motion.
Yeah.
Then after that, we move into, after we catch everyone up, we move into what we're going to call ComStar, which is the different kind of mechs, movies, TV shows that we're watching, whether it be on cable, YouTube, Cody, other
I think
things.
we can also include comic books and things in there too, right? Books.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
comic books. Yeah, definitely.
Video games would also be pretty
games,
awesome.
Yeah.
Sure. And then we're going to move into, after that, the MechBay Hanger. This is going to be a little roundtable topic where each one of us, every episode, brings a topic to the group, and we discuss, whether it be hypothetical situations, information, things like that. And then we move after that. We move into what we call ExFil, and we say our goodbyes for the episode.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. So,
let's light this candle.
Should we move into the dropship then?
Sure.
All right.
Dropship landing.
And welcome to the Dropship. We are the segment where we are going to we get some great sound effects.
Yeah.
Things that we're working on. So Rob, anything you're working on the hobby table or?
Well, I just finished some stuff. I'll ruin what I'm going to talk about in ComStar, but needless to say, I've been rewatching Mobile Suit Gundam, the original show. So I got the gun cannon, the gun tank, and the Zaku 2, and I made models out of all those guys. They're really cool. They're older kits. I got them on eBay, but they're really nice kits. They were simple, but I like the way they turned out. I think I'm an HG kind of guy, so they turned out really cool.
That's awesome.
But I think that's about it I'm doing right now for mech-wise.
Mech-wise, are you gonna paint them up because they're the colored plastic model kits, right?
The gun tank and gun cannon are the newish ones. Not newish, but newer ones. They don't have stickers or anything, but they do have colored plastic. The Zaku 2 though is like a really old kit. I have to paint that. It's just one color, and it's supposed to, how he's supposed to be red because it's Char's ship.
Yeah.
It's like a weird orange. It's like an odd color, and I'm like, why isn't it red? But
it's like red or lightish red, which also goes by pink. But
yeah, that's right. But this is like an orange. It's like the wrong color totally. So I think I will have to paint that guy up a bit. So that's what I will be working on in the future.
Yeah.
How about you, Brian? Got anything on the table?
Well, I've as you guys know, I'm a big Dead Zone fan.
Never heard of it.
As most of us are.
Never heard.
And so what I've been doing is there's the GCPS Army, which are kind of like your general Space Marines. I've been painting them up to match Mobile Suit Gundam's the Earth's forces, the Federation. So
nice.
the ground troops are all like in a tan with like red and black. And then I got the Rangers who are kind of more in spacesuits in like the yellow spacesuits that they have in the original Gundam series. I'm actually just about done painting them, so that's been a whole lot of fun.
That's cool, yeah. I love themed armies. I don't know if anybody knows, we're mostly from the wargaming miniatures world, so that's why we're coming into this, but so we're going to probably have a lot more of that kind of stuff, but I do like to see themed armies. Mm-hmm. And you've done a lot of Gundam themed mechs in the past for the Dead Zone too, which are cool.
Yeah, I did the Strider in there is called, or the mech in there is called a Strider. And I did one as the blue Goof Custom from 08th MS team. And then I just finished another Strider that's decked out like the EZ8, also from 08th MS team.
Nice.
So that was a lot of fun.
That's pretty cool.
How about you?
I myself have not put a lot of stuff on the table as of late, things with work and everything, but I just recently did, since we started talking about doing this podcast, I since went back online and hunted down my favorite mech model, or mech in general, which was the bad guy from the original Mobile Suit Gundam movie, the Zeong.
Ah, nice.
And I went and got the one without the legs, like in the cartoon. And that should be coming to me very soon, and that will be the one I start working on probably by the next time we get together. So the MSN-02 Zeong.
What grade is that one?
It's the master grade.
Ooh, nice.
Fancy.
Yeah, so it's the better of the one. It's a little more expensive, but a little more detail and things like that. So I really want to give it a good paint job. So I think what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to probably paint it like the cartoon, which is more of a purplish color.
Yeah.
In older versions, he's kind of like a blue, or in the newer versions, it's kind of like a blue, gray looking thing. So.
Oh, awesome. That should be sweet.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back, it's the one that destroyed the first original Gundam. If you haven't seen, oops, I just spoiled that, didn't I?
If you haven't seen it, I'll bleep it.
If you haven't seen it, if you haven't seen it, it's the big baddie. So
the big epic end fight between Char and what's his name?
Amuro.
Yeah.
What's his last name?
Ray.
Amuro Ray, is it?
Yeah. Ray.
Yes.
Just like R-A-Y.
So, yeah.
So we'll also throw out there, it's worth mentioning now, we won't just talk about Gundam.
Wow, no. I was afraid with all our names of our segments are all Battletech names. I was like, yeah. But then I realized, our real name at the Mobile Armor Radio is kind of a Gundam theme. So yeah, we will be talking about a bunch of other things. I am getting some more. I have some Cav miniatures I'm going to be painting, and also I got a bunch of Decepticon. I got a bunch of Battletech miniatures, so I'll be doing that. They're on the table to paint. I just haven't got around to them yet.
Yeah, no,
nice.
I hear you. I mean, I think after this Zeong, my next tackle will be to try and find a Cyclone suit from Robotech.
Yeah,
nice.
So, we'll get into Robotech too, but the Cyclones are probably one of my favorite. I love Vertex, but Cyclones are awesome, and there aren't very many kits for them, even in general.
No, it's hard. It's hard to find. Yeah, and the
ones you find are expensive. They're very expensive. They're like the high end ones.
I might have to reach out and
go to Japan.
Yeah, find some people I know in Japan and see if they can find me a kit.
Yeah,
or maybe reach out to Coach to walk the messy hobby store. Maybe he's got one hidden somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We have a friend in New York City who has a hobby shop that's just crazy, and you find the oldest and the newest stuff. You never know what you're gonna find in that place. Yeah, and isn't it called Mospita or something originally? So you'd have to look for that in Japan.
Mm.
Yeah, Mospita. Yeah. I think it's called the Genesis Climber Mospita in the.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that set though.
In the Japanese version, Cyclone armor for the American version of Robotech.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Veritex or Valkyries, like they They have different names for you. Robotech and Macros, and all those ones. It's such a mess with the Americanized version of it and everything. Trying to find specific things to what you remember it's really not easy.
And everyone's love for Harmony Gold, so.
Yeah.
And Palladium too, so.
Yeah.
So yeah,
but don't worry, we'll also celebrate what's great about those things too.
Exactly.
All right, so I guess that brings the end the Dropship, and we'll move into ComStar.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Message from ComStar.
And here we are at ComStar. So, in I guess this segment we talk about the TVs and books and stuff we're messing around with, and all things mech stuff. So, I myself am just restarted the new Battletech video computer game by Harebrained Schemes. I gave it a first go around, and I was doing well, but I made some very poor monetary decisions, and it was making the rest of the game, the rest of the scenarios as I progressed, that much harder.
So it's just like real life.
Yeah. So I hit the way back button, and I restarted the game. And I've started making better decisions. But that being said, the money still keeps flying out, and I'm finding myself falling into the same hole, but further on down the storyline.
You spend too much.
I've been messing around with that. But that's the thing. I'm not spending it on anything. I'm repairing everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Early on, it is a fight to keep everything repaired in that game.
Yeah, and it costs a lot of money when you lose a whole mech.
Never lose.
Well, you can't help it when you get the lucky shot, and then they get the lucky shot, and you be like,
it's called save the game and go back.
You didn't listen to what I was saying, and then you go, oh, I forgot to save.
Oh yeah, that happened to me so many times. Well, luckily it does have auto saves a lot of the time. That you have to go back a bit more, but
yeah. So I've been messing around with that, but at least I'm still solvent, like I'm not on any dire need. Like I could go an extra financial month and be okay. So, but if you are on the fence with this Battletech game, if you're an old Battletech player, it's a nice reimagination of the game. It plays well. It's got a good story so far.
It's on sale right now too.
Oh, is it?
The Steam summer sale.
Yeah. So.
Not to date this podcast.
Yeah.
That's right. But get off the fence, jump on it, get on it, play. I played a couple multiplayer rounds with Rob way back when it first came out, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah, other than you cheated, it was great.
I don't remember how I cheated. I just know that I out-strategized you, so.
I think it was 1-1 with games, by the way, too.
Yeah. But at that point,
it's really fun.
Yeah.
Death from above is not as effective as you'd hope because your legs get broken really easy.
Oh yeah,
just like in the old game.
Yeah.
So which I like. I think sometimes it'll work. Sometimes I will sacrifice the smaller mech to do a death from above to take out the bigger mech.
Oh yeah, if you can kill its head, that's the way to go.
Yeah. So what else am I doing? Because again, we started this podcast. I went back and I started rewatching the original movie,
Gundam movie.
The original Mobile Suit Gundam.
I wish
movie.
there was a Battletech movie.
I'm sure there's a fan film on YouTube somewhere.
Robot Jocks. Remember Robot Jocks?
Yeah, Robot Jocks.
Oh, Robot Jocks.
Pacific Rim, but
So that really got again, like as I spoke about in Dropship, that really got me wanting to build the MSN02 Xiong model out the leg. So I'm very excited. I might even go back one day and see if I can find some old Battletech books back in the day.
Yeah.
There's the House Davion line of Battletech books that I enjoyed, or at least I remember enjoying. We'll see how they stack up. Yeah.
We'll talk after the show, Pat. I might be able to hook you up.
All right.
Got connections.
But that's currently what I am watching and doing as far as all things media.
Nice.
What about you, Rob? What do you got going on?
Well, I got a lot. I kind of get immersed in this stuff, but TV. I'm watching all of the Gundam series in chronological order to the show, so it's like not chronological to when they were released. So I watched all of Mobile Suit Gundam.
Did you start with the movie?
No, I started with the movie. Just recaps the TV show. It's just a short.
Yeah, you've got the series.
Yeah, I
like
watched
the
the whole
40 odd
series.
episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've seen the series too, but I like the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, the movie gets the point across. And then currently I'm watching 08th MS Team, right? Is that what it's called? Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm watching that one. I'm a few episodes into that, so it's fun. It's very like Vietnam. I'm shell shocked with that show.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, it is fun. It's so far really good. Like a lot of these, I either haven't seen them or haven't seen them in a long time because it is such an immense story, right? Like it's a lot of them you just miss. I don't think I've ever seen
the 1 year war that goes on forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 1 year war. It's more than a year.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so I got that for TV shows. That's really filling up my time for that. Books, I'm currently, as you alluded to, the Battletech books. I'm going through them chronologically to the and it's reading those. I'm like so amazed how connected they all are. Like they'll mention something in one book, and then like 3 books later, some other character who happened to be at the same event recants it from his side. It's like, wow, this is they really had good editors in those days. I don't know if it was just the writers really liked reading each other's books or what, but
I think it was a thing that FASA liked to do.
Yeah, they're very interconnected. Like
that's awesome.
It's pretty cool. They're very good, very fun series. Some of them aren't well written, and there's like the Grey Death Legion. I don't know if anybody ever read those books. The first one's great. Second one's pretty good. And then I think the third one, it's just like, let's just kill all the characters for no reason. And you're like, what? Yeah. I like this character. Why did you just kill him?
I ran out of ideas, so let's just kill everyone.
So it's ups and downs, but so far I'm enjoying it. I do love Battletech, and so I got that going. Comics, I'm reading right now. I can't remember who does it. Is it IDW? Someone's doing a Robotech retelling almost. It's a retelling of a modern retelling. It's almost like the difference between Battlestar Galactica and the newish Battlestar Galactica, where it's a little bit more gritty and still cartoony, but it's definitely more deaths and more really getting into deep psychological stuff with the characters. So that's fun. It's a familiar story, but like a much deeper delve into it. So, and there's a lot of differences. They've killed characters that weren't dead in the original and stuff. So that's kind of fun. That's a good comic. Nice. RPGs, I don't know why I got on a kick for buying Robotech RPGs. So I was on eBay and I bought a lot of them. I don't have them all yet, but I have most of the Robotech RPG books. I haven't played them, and I also have Mech Zero I just got recently because it was on sale at Drive-Thru RPG. The physical version was on sale, so I got that. And I dug out all my old Battletech ones, all my old Battletech RPGs, and they're all on my shelf now, all together, collecting dust, but still looking good. And for video games, I am playing Battletech, like Pat said. And, yeah, that's how bad it was. I'm sorry to insult you. Yeah, I really like Battletech. I've beaten it, but I think I'm going to try it Iron Man next, and then it'll be really how much can you lose? Real. Yeah, so that's fun. But yeah, so I'm really in depth. I don't know if there's anything I've missed. I think I've covered all the highlights. Movies. I guess the only mech movie recently has been Pacific Rim, and I saw the second one. It was very good. I thought. I don't think Pat liked the second one, but
I didn't hate it, but it wasn't high on my list. It wasn't any better than the first one.
Yeah, we can discuss that some other time.
Yeah, that'll be a roundtable discussion.
That's right.
At some point.
So, Brian, what you been up to for all this stuff? Hopefully you. Are less long-winded than we are.
So, some of it's going to sound like old hat because I also just recently rewatched all Mobile Suit Gundam. I have the movie collection.
Nice.
And actually, like a ways back when I was doing that Goof Strider customization for Dead Zone, I did rewatch all of 08th MS Team. Recently, though, since then I watched 0080 War in a Pocket, which is like a great little short OVA series. Which have either you guys seen that one?
I don't think
I've seen that one. What's it called?
0080 War in a Pocket. It's 6 episodes long. I think 6 or 4.
I like the short ones.
Yeah, it's super brief. It's about a kid who befriends a Xeon pilot who's part of a strike team that's sneaking into a colony where they suspect a new Gundam is being created. and it's the art is by oh man, I'm gonna screw it up. The original artist for like the Macross series.
Oh, yeah.
Haruhiki Mikimoto, I think. And I'm gonna screw that up. I apologize.
It's Haruhiko.
Haruhiko. Yeah. It's gorgeous. And also incredibly depressing. And then I rewatched, kind of the next one in the series. It's kind of like the 80s and 90s of Gundam, for the 1 Year War stuff. I watched 0083 Stardust Memories, which is kind of awful.
It is?
Yeah. Some people love the show. It's really well animated. Like it's really cool looking. Mech designs are great, but man, is the characters and the plot just kind of like, just shakes your head. Yeah, so I've been kind of similar to you, Rob, working my way back through the whole series. I don't have a copy of Zeta Gundam, which would otherwise be next on my list, cause I actually really love Zeta. Some of my Star Saga guys are gonna get painted like Titans. And then, of course, I'll be moving on to the next, sets in the series. Video games, I also was playing through, Battletech a while back. I was recording myself playing it because I occasionally do Let's Plays. And it's just kind of funny and sad because I recorded that probably 2 months ago now. And I've been so busy with work, I haven't had a chance to do any editing and whatnot. So eventually those will get out. I've really enjoyed Battletech. Really like playing that game. I never played the tabletop game. I played like Mech Warrior 2 back in the day.
On the computer?
Yeah. And so it was kind of fun coming back to that. But I played quite a variety of giant robot games. Haven't done many RPGs yet, or have them on the docket. I've been reading some Star Wars stuff, but that's fine. It's a little maybe too tangential. But on a comic side, I've been meaning to finally get caught up on just again. This isn't going to be just a Gundam show, but
well, let's be honest. Gundam is probably one of the
Gundam is hugely influential. There's Gundam the Origin manga series. Have either of you guys looked at that yet?
No, I don't think
I haven't actually.
I don't think I've ever seen a Gundam comic. That's interesting.
Oh, there's some good ones out there. And I can make recommendations at another time.
Yeah, please do, because I don't think I've actually read Rob. I don't think I've ever read a Gundam comic. I've just watched Gundam.
Yeah. So Gundam the Origin, just to give a brief version of it.
You said it was manga though, right?
Yes.
That might have been why.
It's a manga, but it's a big graphic novel kind of ordeal.
I didn't get into manga. I didn't get into manga.
Is it backwards? You have to read it backwards, or is it?
Yes, it is. It is traditional manga style, but it retells the events leading up to the 1 Year War.
No,
so you get to see Baby Char and Baby Sayla growing up and the rise of Zeon, and ultimately like leading. Basically, it's retelling the whole of the original series. I believe is where they're gonna get it up to. But they've also been doing anime movies about those books now. But the artwork is just gorgeous. I can't stress it enough. They have them available on Amazon, and the quality, like it's hardcover. It's got a couple of pages that are in color, and then otherwise it's traditional black and white. But it's like a 500-page book, and I can't recommend it enough. It's pretty wonderful.
Nice.
It sounds good.
Yeah. So I think that wraps up my stuff. like I said, I haven't been doing too many other things apart from like Dead Zone and whatnot. I've been doing that a lot.
Yeah, it's
So.
tangentially, there is some mecha in it, but
Yeah.
we need to get, what's that game we want from that New Zealand company, the big stompy robot game?
Oh yeah.
Oh, the Weta Workshop? Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
Giant
Oh,
Killer
it's like
Robots.
$150.
Yeah,
the models
it's
look
expensive.
fantastic.
It's
I
expensive. It
wasn't
looks
sold
awesome.
on them
My-
until I
my-
saw them,
my-
and I was like, well,
Yeah, my goal is to, I tried out at Gen Con last year and I enjoyed it, and I actually got to talk and be friends with
nice.
most of the designers and gals from Weta. My goal is to hopefully score a free set at Gen Con this year.
Nice.
You have to get 2 free sets, because I'm going to steal yours.
No, you're gonna have to come and you're gonna have to schmooze like the rest of us.
Is that the key?
Yeah, well, this is how you make your contacts.
Gotta schmooze.
So
All right. Well, I think that probably wraps up ComStar for right now.
yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
That's covered a lot. We'll go into more
Yeah.
depth on some of these things, because I'm sure we'll talk about in the MechBay Hanger about
Oh,
things that we'll get everybody to read something or watch something and discuss it there or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
that's-
And being the first episode is just kind of that taste of like these are all the things that we're into.
And just like anything brand new,
Yeah.
though, we're also still feeling it all out and trying to figure out stuff here. So things may change a little bit, but it'll all change for the better. So
Yes.
all right, so let's take a quick break and then let's move into the MechBay Hanger.
Now entering the MechBay Hanger.
And guys, welcome to MechBay Hanger. This is pretty much a roundtable discussion of different things. We'll have a different topic every episode. So for this episode, since it's being the first one, I'd like to go ahead and propose the topic: what got you into mechs generally and why? So for me, again, this is just going to sound like a Gundam promotion, but in 1978, I saw a movie that's going to date myself here. I saw a subtitled Japanese cartoon called Mobile Suit Gundam with a friend of mine whose dad brought it back from Japan, who was in the Navy.
Nice.
And as we said, and it was on a VHS tape, we had to set the tracking and the whole thing to get it to look clear. But that movie was just phenomenal. It was the giant robots. They looked cool. The Mobile Suit Gundam looked cool. Again, my favorite, the Zeong, looked awesome at the end. It broke the mold of it by being a robot without legs, which I thought was great, and the adult, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? The adult theme of Mobile Suit Gundam at that time for a cartoon that old in the 70s.
Especially compared to even into the 80s, we're getting things like G.I. Joe or Transformers, which are Transformers is sort of Japanese, but the themes of it are very childlike.
Well, the American versions, or PG-13.
G.I. Joe, nobody ever got shot, and everything was restored to the status quo after the end. Meanwhile, Gundam, it's just like...
In Gundam,
hell's
people
breaking
get
loose.
shot in the head, and you can actually see through the hole in the head.
Yeah, it's still mature. Man, does it hold, animation maybe not, but the story and the content really hold up.
Yeah. And so, then here I am, a young teenager, and I'm like, wow, these robots are awesome. And then I start looking around, cause I think it was 1980. Oh God, I don't even date myself. It was the early 80s when I saw Mobile Suit Gundam for the first time. So it had been out for a couple of years.
But I'm sure it wasn't even out here, though. It wasn't like in Japan.
No, yeah.
No, I mean, literally, my friend's dad brought the VHS to him direct from Japan when he was stationed over there for a couple months. So then, fast forward to a year, me and him, we were watching this thing probably once a month, and then a little thing called, a little game company here in Chicago started a game called Battletech. And now I had these things that I could put on my table. I can paint. I can actually play a game of giant robots fighting itself. So, just the idea of being able to sit in a giant robot and move around and fight. It's that kind of sci-fi fantasy deal, and it was different than, say, Star Wars or even Battlestar Galactica at the time, Those were all like people in movies and kind of almost fantasy-esque stories, whereas the stories and feel of mechs was just really about, titans battling amongst humans. Mm-hmm. And that really got me wrapped around their finger as far as mechs are concerned, The bigger and the badder the mech, the more enraptured I was when it came to these mechs. And I just haven't lost that. I still haven't lost that love for robots. We're talking 30 years later on down the line, and then we're still even making movies, a la Pacific Rim. Mobile Suit Gundam has seen, I don't know what,
Ready Player One?
5, 15, 6, Ready Player One. We talk about Weta Workshop. Even Weta Workshop, their love of giant robots prompted them to make a game that they like to play with giant robots.
Mm-hmm.
Killer giant robots. So I think the universal love of just wanting to be in a big hunk of metal that looks semi-humanoid that you can fight Titan gladiatorial wise is a big draw. And it was for me, as far as, mechs and everything concerned, and then, with Battletech, it even just took a little bit further because now here I am, I'm, in one of the older sets of the game, you could actually make your own mech. You just pick the size, you picked your weapon, you picked the armor, and you literally basically colored in a figure with dots of what it was, and it was like you were making your own robot. So then I was like, it was at that point. Then it was just infection for mech. I'll take mechs. So
nice.
What about you, Brian? What got you into?
Well, a lot of I think a lot of stuff for me can go back to like what movies I was watching growing up. And I always remember one is that we had a double feature recording of Tom Cruise movies, namely Top Gun and Days of Thunder. Top Gun, people are probably a bit more familiar with, being about the Navy Air Force, with F-14s, which is the coolest jet ever. And then Days of Thunder is this movie about NASCAR.
Rubbin's Racing, Cole.
Rubbin's Racing. Yeah. And I get a lot of flack in my nerd community for loving that movie. Dude, Hans Zimmer did a great job on the score. Anyway, so like those two things, watch those a lot. My older brother is a mechanic now. He loved cars and stuff like that. So a lot of that, I think, kind of, influenced me as well. And then I, stumbled on some cartoon shows that would occasionally pop on, such as this little one called Robotech, which, not only did they have F-14s, they could transform into giant robots. For one of the most legitimate reasons to have a giant robot, to fight giants from outer space. And so that I think is definitely the draw. But I've always loved kind of machines and robots, computers and stuff. I was a huge Mega Man fan. I played number 3 to death, way back in the day. But really, then Toonami had their anime block, and there's other anime shows out there like Voltron, was out at the time, Speed Racer. And then, Gundam Wing was my first exposure to Gundam and this world of, giant robots of different sizes fighting other giant robots and some big political, melodrama going on. And it was a blast. And then kind of going from there, I always just was drawn to sci-fi. Star Wars is obviously a pretty big influence as well. And then I think things kind of, petered out for a little bit in the later high school, but then in college, I got connected to, I was an anime club and nerd card here. I was the president of that anime club for 4 years. But that got me involved with a whole lot of other shows and stuff, and things like Code Geass and Gunbuster and Outlaw Star. Just a lot of anime influences on my side of the table. I also, one of the fun things I'll always remember is saw an anime music video once, and in it was this kind of quick poppy techno video, and then all of a sudden it's like these spaceships flying around and transforming into jets with legs. And so I'm like, man, that looks familiar. And I remember talking to my buddy who I've done a lot of other stuff about Gundam with, and he's like, I'm like, do you remember a show where they had jets that transformed? He's like, yeah, Robotech. And it's off of that Macross series. And I'm like, Macross? He's like, yeah, and it kept going in Japan. I'm like, there's more? So for me, it really has been kind of a lot of different influences. I do think kind of that initial kind of gearhead type environment growing up with my within my family, and then also in kind of the movies and stuff I watched, definitely got into it in a big way. And so I'm then also kind of catching up on some of the older shows. Like I actually didn't see the original Mobile Suit Gundam until I was in college, actually, because they had a weird airing on it with Toonami. But I was a huge fan of 08th MS Team, is probably my favorite of the franchise. Obviously, I guess did 2 Strider conversions with that. But the Macross series is also really huge, and that's grown into pretty much all realms, like video games, tabletop, movies, anime, shows, books. People love giant robots because they're awesome.
True that.
How about you, Rob?
Well, yeah, it's very similar to yours because it did start with Robotech. Not to out-geek you, but I was in when I was like 6 or 7, I was in a Doctor Who viewing
Oh,
club.
nice.
So I was like super young. My mother had to take me to this thing just so I wasn't abused. She was scared, I think. They were fine people. They were very geeky. But before that, we watched Doctor Who one time. They were watching Robotech, and my little brain was blown. It was just like, what is this? This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. At the time, obviously, I was watching Transformers or G.I. Joe, and like I said before, this was leap years better, even though it was made earlier. But just the idea of that, this was like a continuing, because I think it was like one of the random episodes, and then all of a sudden, like, what? It didn't end. Like, it's continuing story that at the time was ridiculous. You never even could imagine that a cartoon could be continuing like that. So that was like, it was never on TV. Like, I'm from Canada. It was never on TV at all. It would, once in a blue moon, it would just have some episode on. Like, it was very odd viewing. But, so unfortunately, I never got to watch that until I was a little bit older. I was able to track it down. But, yeah, that was the beginning of it. And then I know in high school, MechWarrior came out, the original MechWarrior computer game. And me and my friend, it was, once again, this was a time before first-person shooters and stuff. This was, you're trying to use a keyboard. One of us would drive, the other one would shoot, because it was just too complex for our little minds. And that was the best, like that. And looking at it now, I'm like, you remember it back, and you're like, oh yeah, that looked great. Like, it was, you look at what it looked like now, and it's just polygons, and you couldn't tell what anything was. And
did it even really have textures, or were they all like flat colors? I'm trying to remember myself.
Just flat. Oh, totally just flat.
It's just the shapes.
Yeah, it was terrible. Yep, like it was basic, but yeah,
it was wonderful.
Oh yeah, we played the hell out of that game. So that got me into MechWarrior, which got me into Battletech. That's when Battletech really took off for me. I have I think it's a 2nd edition box set. And that was the big starting off. I have tons of MechWarrior. We played a lot of MechWarrior, or Battletech, I should say, and MechWarrior, the role-playing game, but Battletech in high school was a big thing. between playing D&D and all the other role-playing games. We were big role-playing game people, like miniature games. We didn't know what miniature games were. We didn't even consider Battletech a miniature game. It just was a different type of role-playing game to us. Like, it didn't occur to us there was things like Warhammer and that kind of stuff. That was all, never knew about that until after high school. So, yeah, we're playing the hell out of some Battletech. And then it moved into anime, because then I found out, well, you can find all these anime. So things like Akira and Ghost in the Shell, and that was a big anime. But then I found things like Neon Genesis Evangelion, or Gundam Wing was my first Gundam. I came really late to Gundam. Like, I didn't even know that there was this huge backstory. I thought Gundam Wing was like the second series, you know, like it didn't even, until I researched it more, I was like, no idea that there was this whole huge backstory. And that's why I'm going through it now, to really fill in all the blanks in that whole series, because I did miss a lot of it.
Yeah.
But that was definitely the role playing into anime was my trip through the thing. But it all started with Robotech, and that was always my first love. Like you say, the Veritech fighters, and then the later ones we were talking about before the show started, about the Cyclone armors, the guy who has a motorcycle that turns into armor. Just powered armor in general is just so cool. So having giant powered armor is even cooler. So yeah, it's just gone on from there. Anything big and stompy, I'm into it. And reading the Battletech books back in the day, and anything that I even had Robotech novels, which was this was a time before you could just go and find the series, like you could just go watch it. That was when you just had to find these books and like, oh, this is an episode from the show. There was no, like, it was hard to find. Like, I'm younger than Pat, but I'm older than Brian, so I'm in the middle somewhere.
It is a fun spectrum, isn't it?
Yeah, like, we did cover, like, quite a bit of it, and I like how we're similar, but different ways we got into it.
Yeah.
But we all come into it now, and even model building. I was never into model building until recently, really. I would have ships models or airplanes, World War II airplanes and stuff, but never mechs until, like, the Gundams that I'm pretty big into now. I never had. So that kind of stuff's kind of cool. It was miniature games that brought me into the model building more. I think it's unusual. I think most people come the other way. They start with models and then come into miniature games, but I definitely came the other way. So now, yeah, it's Gundam. My shelves are being filled with Gundams and other mechs that I've built. So that was my long and winding trip. I think that was it.
That's all right, man. I mean, these were all great, great little ways to get into it. You know, and it all, again, like I said, it all starts with Gundam.
Yeah.
Well, it was one of the original Mecha shows for sure. So that brought a lot of, like, there would be no Macross, there'd be no anything else without Gundam. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the Macross guys, it was like a Gundam fan group that started that series.
Oh, really? That's interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, I think there's the tale that the bridge is called Gunsight 1, and that was the name of their little Gundam group.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, it's a bunch of nerds celebrating nerddom with more nerd stuff. It's great. I love it.
And I think nowadays it's never been bigger, like with things like Pacific Rim, but also seeing Gundam in Ready Player One, like that's amazing. Like, it's just showing that it's becoming into the zeitgeist where it's not just for anime geeks or not just for model builders, gunpla people. It's not just a Japanese thing anymore. It's becoming bigger and bigger. And I know there's going to be a Gundam movie within 5 years, I would guess, that we're going to have like a full live action Gundam movie.
I've heard they've been working on it.
I would not be surprised at all because of all the different anime movies that have received a live action version, you know.
Recently.
Especially recently, yeah.
Yeah, my favorite being Space Battleship Yamato. That's the one that started being anime. That's a whole nother discussion. But.
Well, it's funny. I got Captain Harlock Arcadia of my youth sitting here waiting for me to watch it.
But you know, all those, I think there's a GoFundMe or even a Kickstarter to get Akira in live action.
Well, they've been working on that for a long time. Wasn't Leonardo DiCaprio was associated with it for a while, but
for a while.
Yeah,
I think that Ghost in the Shell's failure kind of put a kibosh on some of these, unfortunately. But then Ready Player One, even though a lot of people didn't like the movie, everybody loved that fight between Godzilla and a Gundam. Like, what more do you want?
Mecha Godzilla versus the Gundam. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was that Battle Angel Alita project
right.
from James. Was it James Cameron's doing that one?
Yep. Yeah, he's producing it, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
When does that come out?
That's
I remember seeing the trailer.
Yeah.
Seen it so long ago.
And there's several different versions of Ultraman.
Yes, they're always making new ones. That's another
Live
Japanese.
versions.
They're really into. That's a Japanese thing where that's their.
The
it's like their
tokusatsu.
Superman almost.
He's somewhat he's somewhat mechish.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of. It's even if you look at things like
Dude,
like you said,
forgot to mention
Voltron or
Power Rangers.
yeah, Power Rangers. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
watch the crap out of that show.
Yeah, that one was a little a little out of my
A
deal.
little after.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, even Voltron though, like that's a pretty well known franchise that's getting a lot of love now with the Netflix series, the cartoon series.
So good.
So it's actually getting a pretty legitimate showing of now. And speaking of James Cameron, even in James Cameron movies, you get Mecha. He obviously has a love of them too, because in the Avatar movies, there's those guys in the giant robots.
Strider-ish.
Yeah. So I think it's all those people that grew up like we did are they're getting to the age that they can do this kind of stuff and they want to do it. It's kind of it's like when all of a sudden Cthulhu and Lovecraft stuff started coming out. That was an older generation, just slightly older than us, and all of a sudden we're getting all this Cthulhu stuff. I think the same thing's going to happen with everybody, the Robotech generation or Gundam generation coming up. We're going to start seeing a lot more of that kind of stuff coming forward, especially with technology to make movies too nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does definitely make it easier to make a giant robot movie.
Yeah.
But other than a guy in a little plastic suit, running around with fake tall buildings,
fighting another guy in a rubber suit,
don't get me wrong, I love those Japanese. I love the old Ultraman TV series like that, or even the old Godzillas. But
they do have a certain charm.
They do.
Oh yeah, I got a buddy that loves that stuff.
Yeah. All right, well, that was nice, great discussion and roundtable on how we all got started in the mechs. It was very interesting to see the different foundations from where everyone started, just because of our ages. But yeah, so I guess that wraps up the MechBay Hanger for this episode.
Yeah.
Let's head into the ExFil. What do you guys say?
Sure.
Sounds good.
Let's ExFil out of here.
All right, guys. So I think this is a great first outing for Mobile Armor Radio. We're now here at the ExFil, getting ready to sign off. And I think, did we decide, Rob, that you were going to handle the next topic next?
Sure. I'll take the reins next time. I think I have
an
an interesting conversation that might get more of a round table where we can argue. I think some argument is in order.
All right, arguing will be fun too. So
yeah.
So at the next MechBay, Rob will be chairing the Mobile Arm Radio for next week.
Next month.
Or next month, sorry. I say next week.
Don't give me that much pressure.
I think we had it was very insightful today. We talked about what things we got going on, things that got us, more important, the things that got us into mechs, and it was I thought it was very interesting to listen to how everyone got into what was going on as far as the mechs and the different games and TV shows and things like that when we first started our loves for mechs. So
yeah.
Anything else you guys want to add?
I will say we do have a Facebook group called Mobile Armor Radio. It's come and join that and post below your start, how you got into loving mechs and mecha in general, and let us know if there's anything else you want us to talk about, and or if there's anything we're missing. Like me and Pat both didn't even realize there was Gundam comics, and now we're going to explore those.
Yeah, so it's a learning experience for everyone at this point.
Yep. So yeah, please come join that. We'll get everybody in there having a nice discussion. I think that'll be a nice expansion to the show. We also have a Twitter. It's I believe it's M Armor Radio. I think. Let me just check that.
I think it was something like that.
But if you look for Mobile Armor Radio, you'll find it anyways. It's the way that, unfortunately, the way that Twitter does their names now.
Oh, yes.
But if you just look for Mobile Armor Radio on Twitter, you'll find us there. We're the only one for sure. And join us on Twitter also. Post pictures. We'd like to see what you're working on. And
yeah, definitely. Post your pictures of any models you're building. I'd love to see what's going on with you guys as far as what you're Kit's putting together on the Facebook page. Or even twit. Is that the word? Twit?
I think it's tweet.
Even tweet some pictures to us or twit some pictures to us. Is that tweeted? But yeah. So I'd love to see what's going on. I love seeing people's work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always cool to see what the community is doing, and we love to get more people into it. 'Cause Giant Mechs, like I said earlier, are awesome, and more people should like them.
Yep, for sure.
That is correct.
Gotta get into it. Plus, I'm sure if you challenge us to some Battletech games or other things, come see us at, we'll be at Gen Con, and Pat and I will be at Gen Con at the Mantic booth. You can come say hi, say you like Mobile Armor Radio, and
come talk to us about some giant robots.
Yep. And,
I'll be there for Mantic night only, cause I'm working the rest of the week, unfortunately.
That's still awesome. That's gonna be a good time.
That's gonna be awesome, yeah. So, alright. So, thanks for listening to the first episode of Mobile Armor Radio. I am Chopper.
I am Archimize.
And I'm Rob. We gotta figure out what order we're doing this. That's the only problem.
I just figured people would just jump in.
Yeah. The pause is there for editing purposes, I'm sure.
That's right. It'll all sound great in editing.
Yeah. We'll fix it in post.
We'll fix it in post. So, alright guys.
Robin's the one doing that.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. We will see you guys next month.
Take care, everybody.
This has been Mobile Armor Radio. Join our Facebook group by searching for Mobile Armor Radio. Find us on Twitter at @MArmorRadio. Find us on iTunes and visit our website, mobilearmorradio.podbean.com. Join us on the first of every month for more Mecha discussion.